He does have a visceral grasp of America's political underbelly. He really understands how to inflame people, how to motivate them, how to bond with them over whatever their grievance is. You know, whatever resentment or point of anger that you may have, if he can get into it, whether it's race or sex or xenophobia or anti-Islamophobia, whatever it is. And so we're seeing it on a broader stage. And it is deeply troubling for not only our politics, but for our position in the world.
Aren't those chairs you sit in for video games very close to the ground, right? I'm just sitting there playing Space Invaders.
Either that or she's in like an old seat from a Delta plane.
Right, absolutely.
It's a red chair.
Why waste them?
Right. All right, let's bring in the former UK Independence Party leader and Fox News contributor, Mr. Nigel Farage. Hello, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning. We want to hear your reaction. What do you think of Hillary last night talking about how the American people are racist, they're sexist, xenophobic, and we want to know, is this a global argument of the left?
She also blamed the New York Times.
And the DNC.
Yes, well, I mean, Hillary said the same things about me when I came across and supported Donald Trump in his campaign. I don't think it's worth getting angry about Hillary. I just think she looks sad and pathetic. There is nothing worse in life than a bad loser. Nothing worse than somebody who blames absolutely everybody else for their own failings. And let's face it, you know, she represented an out-of-touch, out-of-date establishment. She almost appeared as if it was her right to become the president, and I'm very pleased she didn't. Let's just, I tell you what, from now on, let's just ignore her.
Nigel, I think that a lot of people in her own party must be shaking their heads saying, how can we turn the page if she won't? Because, like it or not, she represents a lot of money and established power.
Yeah, well, the establishment are feeling very sore. I mean, look, 2016, we had Brexit, we had Trump. They still haven't got over it. They're still not reconciled to it. They'd had it their own way for far too long. They haven't recognised that the world has changed.
Well, absolutely. Part of the world changing was the Brexit upset that no one saw coming. But in order for Brexit to happen, you have to follow through with that. And there's reports now out of the UK that Theresa May's lead and the Conservatives is at a record low of 3 points. So are you concerned that there could be a Brexit upset there?
Well, Theresa May took on the agenda that I've been pushing for the last 20 years, and it was great to see a British Prime Minister making all those arguments and saying Brexit must mean Brexit. The problem is the British public didn't really know her very well, and she herself had backed Remain in the election last year. She's performed a whole series of U-turns on domestic politics, and it seems now that the more Theresa May appears on our TV screens, the less people like her. And that's the main reason why her lead's gone down. And I think what you're going to see in the last week of this campaign is a lot more of Boris Johnson and people like that, and a lot less of Theresa May.
Does that surprise you?
She's just bombing.
Does it surprise you after Manchester? Because usually after an attack like that, you see a community coming together. She's been out speaking publicly about it.
Well, look, I think you forget that for 6 years, she was our Home Secretary. She was in charge of dealing with the terror threat. And you know something? We've allowed nearly 400 jihadi fighters back into Britain from Syria and only prevented one of them from coming back. So actually, the public are saying, when she was in charge of this stuff, she wasn't tough, she didn't deal with it, and so there is a real crisis of confidence in, you know, can this person stick to a course?
Right, and of course Hollande's out for a myriad of reasons, one of which is he couldn't keep anybody in France safe because of the myriad of attacks there.
U.S. can learn a lot from this.
So let's talk about any semblance of decency. Kathy Griffin, a comedian here, came out and held the president's, a mock of the president's head. We've all seen the picture already. Do you think we've reached a tipping point where some degree of civility will come back in, being that both sides are so outraged by this? Or am I just in another world?
I hope so. 2 years ago, a very well-known stand-up comedian in this country advocated publicly to audiences that I should be stabbed, would you believe? Complaints were made to the police. The guy got off without any charges, and the BBC, our main national state broadcaster, still repeatedly used this guy. And when I saw what had happened, this sick image. It's supposed to be funny, but it wasn't, of Trump. And I'm pleased to see at last there is some kickback against these left-wing politicians who have got away with outrages for years. I see this actually as good news, and I think we've turned a corner back towards something rather more decent.
Yeah, I guess as long as we turn that corner and there's nothing there as opposed to something else even further. Nigel Farage, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
We'll be following the elections there. Appreciate it.
Thank you.